Hey everyone, my name is Pupsker, and today I want to go over in Palworld some tips and tricks to make your life starting Palworld a lot easier. First and foremost, I want to talk about what exactly is Palworld, because a lot of people have been getting into and looking at Palworld now that it's released. Game's popping off, hit like 2 million players, and a lot of people are looking at it and thinking like, oh, what is this game? Should I play it? Is it like Pokemon? So let's quickly talk about that. The game itself is a mixture of Ark survival, so it is primarily a survival-based building and management game mixed with Pokemon. It is an open world survival Pokemon type game, meaning what you primarily do is create your base, build up your base, gather resources, farm and collect pals. They're, not Pokemon, but farm and collect pals, and then continue your journey fighting higher levels, unlocking more stuff to play throughout your base and more things to build up. And you just collect it all. Of course, only within the first 5 minutes is survival an actual issue in the game. Past that, it's more just don't die outside in the world and do whatever you want. The map is quite large once you start unlocking it, and it has many spawn points, so it is very nice like that. What is Palworld? It is quite literally Ark survival Pokemon. Mash those two together, and that is this game. There are, I think, 111 pals that you will slowly find throughout your gameplay. There are different pals that spawn at night compared to daytime cycles sometimes. They have very specific regions where you'll find them, and you will have to explore a lot of the game to actually figure out what is going on. And let me tell you, this game is very interesting in that sense, because you can finally fly your Pokemon, so your pals. You can use them as flamethrowers. It's amazing. For example, one of my pals right here, I can mount him, and now I can ride him and just fly around. Of course, you have a stamina gauge, so you cannot fly infinitely. But if you're just flying to get around, it's not that bad. And then I have another pal, such as this one, which is a fire pal, right? And guess what? You can equip the pal and use it as a flamethrower. And then I have another pal, because I've just recently unlocked some gun stuff. Beautiful pal, right? Oh, equip the pal, they jump on your head, has a submachine gun, they will shoot for you while you attack. So, good stuff there. I would recommend checking this game out at least and taking a look at it. So that's what Palworld is. It's Ark x Pokemon guns in the modern day. So let me know what you think about that. The first thing I wanted to talk about when starting this game is your starting location. When you start off in the game, you start right here, right dab center there. But what the game doesn't let you know is you can instantly hit respawn. This will kill you. You will lose all of your gear that you have because this is a survival game, and that is how it operates. But since you just started the game, that doesn't really matter. You can hit respawn, and you can respawn in any one of these areas. So this is a respawn point, Sea Breeze, Archipelago Reef. This is a respawn point, Sea Breeze, Archipelago Castaway Beach. This is another spawn point, Windswept Hills, Flying Fish Coast. Then you have Windswept Hills, Plateau of Beginnings. This is the one that they say has most of the resources and pal population, which is why it is the default location. But you do not have to stick with that, and I just really wanted to let everyone know that, right? You have pal population of 3, 4 for resources, so you can respawn in any one of these areas that you want. I think all of the pals in these general areas are pretty low level, and then once you start getting into the middle section here, the level will increase, but I am still early mid game of it, right? It's a survival game. I'm only level 25. I have a billion years left in it, so these are all the starting locations. All are good. There's nothing really wrong with them. It's just up to you to choose. If you want maybe a harder time, choose the ones that are all the way back here, but I do think they're all going to be pretty equal. It just recommends this area right here because it'll have the easiest starting pals, it'll have the quickest starting teleport, and you'll have a lot of the resources you need to quickly start building up your pal base and automating everything inside your base. So that's my first general tip. While the first area is good, you might want to try other areas when you start doing other playthroughs, because you want a different experience. So just keep that in mind. There is that, but the first area is still really good. So once you've chosen your starting location, you need to choose where your base is going to be. So that's always a really, really fun time. And we'll talk about that more after. But just very briefly, where to build your base, and then that's how you sort it and grab it all. I would choose a more open area that's flat so you can easily build stuff. The area right to the right of where you start, it's not the best or anything, since it could have more area, but I chose right here, and it's not terrible because it has beginning resources. You will eventually be able to build multiple bases, and you can always move down your bases in building whenever you want via hitting B and then disassembly mode. I believe you get 100% of resources back when you disassemble something, so you can always just move your stuff, but obviously that's a lot easier said than done because I have an entire base here. So you'd want to choose a good spot. Another good spot is just right down here. Some of these open small sections, mainly right here, is a very good one, right? Right here has a good flat area, good circle of land, lot of resources around it. It would be better than this one, I would say. So just right there, if anyone's starting, is probably the best starting location specifically. So those are my general beginner guide tips for where to choose your starting location. Now let's go on to something else. I want to go over the stats of your player because the stats really do matter. You have HP, stamina, attack, defense, work speed, and work weight, or I should say carrying weight capacity. All of these can be augmented one way or another going forward. Attack, for example, gets augmented by just so much better, stronger, increased firepower via weapons. Stamina gets a little better by just getting more efficient and items that could increase your stamina. HP gets increased a lot through general gear. Defense gets increased a lot through gear. Work speed can get passively increased, as well as you have work speed on pals. And then you have your weight, which is your general carrying capacity. All of these can get augmented and increased via pals, equipment, passives, one way or another. And you can eventually restart or reset your stat levels so that you can min-max at a higher level. So keep that in mind. It's not final, and I'm just having fun personally as well, throwing it around everywhere. But what I would recommend earlier on, it seems like having HP is really nice, especially once you start fighting the boss enemy. So HP seems to be good. You might not need a ton, but I would definitely invest in it a good amount so that boss enemies don't hit you, world boss enemies don't hit you. Once you fight the tower boss enemy, you don't get killed easily. So HP seemingly is really good right now. Stamina is another thing which is very good. Might not need a higher amount, maybe only cap out at 200, but stamina is very useful. It affects you when you're fighting, it affects you when you're moving, swimming, climbing. Stamina matters a ton. The only thing it doesn't matter for is like working, because you just have constant work. So work speed, right? So you do want to invest in stamina, just especially early on, so you can fight enemies a lot easier, maybe capture them a lot easier, depending on how you're choosing to get their HP down before you throw your pal sphere. So it's a good idea to get stamina. I would maybe hold off on investing into attack. It seems like you just don't get enough attack for how much you have to invest. You get 2 attack per stat point, so it just does not seem worth it. And same with defense, you just do not get enough defense for how much stats you put in. If you even get defense, I haven't invested in it at all, but it's just, I don't think attack and defense right now are the most worth it at all as a stat to technically invest in. Then you have work speed, probably also not the best to invest in, but I chose to invest a little bit on early because I was spending a lot of time at my crafting table. So work speed is your character's work speed. If it's higher, you work on things faster. It's just a lot less useful once you get pals, because pals help you build and work through everything in your base once you start building your base. So it's very important to note that. Your weight though, definitely important to have. Weight matters way more early on, especially. You're collecting a lot of stone, rock, wood. You are collecting, right? That is early game of a lot of these survival games, and even late mid game, right? A lot of it is collecting and just holding resources wherever you can. And that really matters. Boop, food. So you will need a good amount of weight. Again, everything can get augmented and increased via one way or another later on, but weight's going to be pretty important. You don't want to be running around and then have to drop a bunch of stuff because you're just out adventuring, collecting a lot of things, and guess what? Your weight's too high, so you have to throw it out. So you don't want that. You want to have a high weight. Would recommend 10 out of 10. So that's the general breakdown, I would say, for stats. Let me know what you think, because you can always, again, reset your stats later on in the game, so it's not a huge issue like that, but it's just early on, you might want to choose certain things over others, like work speed, level 1, 2, and then go to like weight and stamina, and then maybe a little bit of HP, because early on you're not fighting, so you don't need a ton of HP, but once you get maybe around level 10 to 15, you'll need some HP because you might start fighting bosses shortly, so a lot of things to consider like that, but I would start maybe a little bit of work speed if you want it, and then a good chunk of weight and stamina, and then HP. Go from there. You'll understand, at least by the time you hit like level 15, how the general flow of combat works. Once you unlock a boss fight, because there are boss fights over at the towers, I have beaten the Tower of Rain. Once you fight the bosses, you'll truly understand why you need to have high HP. I got pretty much like one shot by a boss already in my game once or twice. I've gotten almost one shot a ton of times, so you do have to be careful. So stats matter in that regard. Next, I wanted to talk about technology in Palworld. This is your general level up structure and tree. Every level, I think on average you get 6 technology points, maybe 5, but I think it's 6. And these technology points used to unlock everything in the game for building and crafting, etc. and so forth. So starting off, you unlock primitive workbench and just general building gear. You'll want to very quickly build a stone axe, a stone pickaxe, and a handheld torch. Wooden club doesn't really matter, but hey, maybe you want to go from there. And then as you level up, you will build up your base. You'll build up your benches, campfire, because you don't want to get a cold, you don't want to get cold and freeze at night. Pal spheres, which are Pokeballs. Your Pal box, which is essentially your main hub, and it is a teleporter, as well as it's where you put all your pals. It's pal storage, right? So you slowly go throughout the game unlocking everything, shields, weapons, feeding. This is where a lot of quality of life and utility comes in later in the game. So a lot of things in survival games, you're like, oh, why don't they have this? They might have it later on through technology. For example, auto feeding you unlock later on through technology, your shield, a glider so you can fly around without dying. You can unlock the glider I put on my Nightwing, my bird. So let's quickly take a look throughout the technology to see what you get. The quests in the game take you through essentially buying a lot of this stuff and building your base. So you'll get an idea of how to do all of this, but hey, it is what it is. There's certain things you'll need and certain things you won't need. So I will say this, try to have a surplus of like 10 or 5 technology at all times, because your next quest that you unlock might require you to build things and you might not have unlocked those yet. So just keep that in mind. It'll unlock auto farming, arrows, weapons, parachutes, ranch. Your Statue of Power is where you go to increase how easily it is to capture enemies, as well as increase your pal stats. You unlock items, key items for pals that'll make them more useful. So a lot of pals have an individual item that you equip. For that fox, it's the one that makes me hold it in a flamethrower, Malpaca saddle so you can ride it as a mount, gloves for the cell rays so that you can use it wholly onto its fin so it can be a glider. Like, there's a lot of goofy stuff. The Daydream's necklace is an item that if you have a Daydream is just around you at all times as a passive pal. So I would recommend grabbing that and getting it early on in the game, because Daydreams spawn very early on in dungeons and at night. And then you can just have a passive pal that is always floating around you. See, there's my Daydream, even though I have, let's say, my deer. There's my other pal. So they will both fight enemies while they are out, right? Like, look at that pal. 10 out of 10. So I would recommend getting that. And then from there, you just slowly unlock everything to build up your base, unlock automation, stone, logging pits, crushers to make more resources, nails to craft more things, a furnace. You slowly unlock more gear, more defenses. You get a metal axe and a metal pickaxe, which I probably should just build these already, but I'm lazy. So you unlock better quality gear, start using those gear, get more loot, right? Slowly throughout the game, you unlock even more automation, cooking pot, but then this is where you'll hit the part where you'll have so many levels, but not enough technology points. So eventually that'll catch up with you, which is why I say try to have 5 extra technology points so that you don't get capped at your certain quests. Eventually you get higher quality PAL spheres, Pokeballs if you will, call them what you will, and there's just more things to unlock. So if you're ever curious, like, hey, why don't I have this or why don't I have that, you can always look through the technology to see what's coming on later in the game. Better shields, handgun, right? A tomato plantation, hell yeah. Snowman, sweet. A large PAL bed, a single shot rifle, good stuff. A pump action shotgun, an assault rifle. Last one, rocket launcher, rocket ammunition. So there's a lot of things to unlock, so just take it slow and make sure you have some backup resources in case you need to spend them there in your technology. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about how you can level up fast in Palworld. There's a handful of ways to level, but it is pretty simple. Just doing anything in the game will get you some passive levels and experience, right? But there is a much faster way to generally level. The fastest way to level your pals themselves is to let them kill other pals. The issue is a lot of the starting pals are really low level, so you have to start fighting higher level pals. It's going to take some time, but capturing pals will always be a good way for you to gain general levels on your character. So each pal has a limit, a 10 capture EXP bonus limit. So individually, you should capture 10 of every single pal in order to get the biggest XP bonus possible, right? I'm showing you with this lamp. If you see in the bottom right, capture successful, it doesn't say anything about the 1 to 10 capture EXP bonus because I already captured 10 of those. So if I click onto them, you'll see this capture bonus, 12 out of 10, sweet. You'll see this capture bonus, 10 out of 10. You'll see that one, 9 out of 10. This capture bonus gets you so much EXP. That is the fastest and best way to level your character level early on in the game, as well as your pals. They do get a lot of XP passively just by playing the game. But again, PAL XP is most optimally acquired by murdering and fighting other pals, but player XP is most optimally acquired by capturing other pals. So it is a really weird system they have going on. Once you get to a higher level, it just makes sense. Fighting higher level enemies will be better for leveling up pals, right? But there aren't a ton of higher level enemies in the early game. So once you unlock and beat the first boss at the Rain Tower, that is going to be your best EXP farm early game. It's essentially a boss fight. You just keep fighting the boss and it's really good for an EXP farm. An alternative is dungeons in the game. This game has dungeons which are essentially just a black hole in the side of a mountain, and then it's a little dungeon instance, right? Very simple. You can capture pals in the dungeons as well as fight enemies in the dungeon. Capture the pals that you don't have the 10 capture bonus for, and then fight everyone else. Later on in the game, it is a good idea, by the way, to have duplicates for a lot of pals so that you can upgrade them even more. So I wouldn't get rid of my pals, but you can also sell pals to merchants once you find the pal merchant. So there's a lot of things you can do with the pals once you unlock that. But starting off, you just kind of keep them all in your pal deck. You can unlock a butcher's cleaver and cleave your pals to death and then eat them. So the game's a little messed up. You can later on in the game as well breed pals and incubate pals. So I have a pal egg incubator there, and then I can just breed and make pals from that. So there are a lot of things that unlock, much like most survival games, and it'll take you a lot of time to get there. So that's the fastest way to level. Incubating eggs passively will also get you a good amount of levels, because once you incubate an egg, you get a pal, and that counts as capturing the pal. So you might also get a lot of rare pals that you haven't unlocked quite yet. So, you know, that's a good 1 out of 10 capture bonus right there, and you get a good EXP boost. The EXP boost from the capture bonus seemingly scales up with either your level or the total amount you've done, so it'll only get higher as you continue on playing the game, and it'll continue being the best way to individually quickly level your player level, which you can always check out right here. It is a good idea when you're just generally running around to throw your pals on and then let them fight pals around while you're just running around, okay? And you can command them to attack aggressively by hitting the 4 key. So that's how you level up fast in Palworld. Okay, my next tip is for map marking in Palworld. This might seem a little weird, but in Palworld, you have to collect effigies, which make your captures better, right? Higher chance to capture. They're all over the map, but they're really hard to see unless it's nighttime. So you can always, if you see them, hit E on the map to marker them, and you can always marker enemies, resources, etc., but I mainly use this for effigies. Something I've realized is the effigies glow green. You can't see them during the daytime, but once it becomes nighttime, you see a bunch of glowing green little circles like here, 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 because you can see the effigies a lot easier. So what I like to do is at night, teleport around, and then go and snipe out where effigies are and then hit them with the E marker, right? I collected a bunch around here and then a good handful like in between the areas. They're hard to see, and that's why you really require it to be nighttime to see them easily, because oh god, they glow and the sun makes them impossible to see. So that's just a quick little map marking tip. Next, I want to have some general base building tips in the game. When you build a base, you want to have an area that doesn't have a ton of openings so that enemies can't spawn everywhere to attack you. Mine only has 1 or 2 openings, and the 1 opening is blocked right now by rocks. So enemies half the time can't actually get to my base. Sometimes they spawn up there, but the other times they can't actually get to my base. So you want a good area, but you also want an open area so that you can throw down a lot of base items, beds, housing, general production line areas. So that's why a lot of people would recommend, and I would probably recommend right down here, it has 1 entrance there, it has another entrance there, and you can very easily block those off defensively because this game has defenses, it has turrets, so yeah, you'll want to have a good choke point for your bases, as well as you want a good amount of resources around the base. So I have like wood and ore, makes it a lot easier. That's more important for early game, but it's also important for mid game, right? Collecting ore over there would be really good. So it's why a lot of people recommend, I would say this is the general, I would say spawn location, or any one of these general open areas, but I just think that's the best one right there. But you can use any one of them, like the ones down here are good too. It's not like any high level enemies. By the way, there's some loot down there once you spawn in to grab, so there's just stuff everywhere. Remember that, and remember to build your base accordingly. To build your base, you have to remember that your pals will be running to do different tasks. I haven't built my base the most effectively. I should probably put the food, the feeding, closer to where everyone's working. I have the storage close to where everyone's working, which is good so I can store things quickly. But I also have the farm, plantation area, and the general food over here. So my guys are running around a lot, and it's maybe not the most effective. So that's another thing. Just make sure you build things close to each other where your pals will be running. They don't need to sleep a lot, so you can put like sleeping off to the side, but they need to get food and they need to work a lot. So put all that close by. That's my general base building tips. Again, you can always disassemble everything for at cost and get it back. So do that if you need to. Okay, so for this next section, I want to talk about Palbox Management. Your Palbox is your fast travel station, your base upgrading, you know, pretty much what your next quest in the game is, current mission. But the Palbox Management menu is huge. You can sort your pals, so I always like to sort them by pal deck number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so just makes it a lot easier. Plus you collect so many that you'll have to do this, okay? So make sure to sort them, okay? And this is where you will manage the pals in your base, and you can see all of your pal's stats. There are a couple things that are important to note. Let's click on a pal like Lift Monk. Hit F, view details. This is where you can see their working suitability, which means what they can actually do at your base. So Lift Monk can do planting stuff, handiwork stuff, lumbering stuff, medicine production, and gathering. That is all. Can't do kindling, watering, generating electricity, or any of that other stuff. So this is very important. You want to make sure you're choosing good pals to work on your base for what you need at the time. They also have, that's right, passive skills. These passive skills are pretty important. They're 25% increase to player mining efficiency. So choose good ones for your pals. I can see here I have brittle, defense minus 20%. Oh, look at that, lowered defense. This one as unstable, SAN drops 10% faster, gets hungrier, easier, dang. Conceded, work speed increase, but defense lowered. Oh, unfortunate, right? Lift Monk, motivational leader, increase to player speed. Not bad, not bad. Nightwing, ooh, SAN drops faster. So you also want to make sure they don't have bad passives. It's also very simple because you can just delete the ones that have negative arrow passive skills and keep the ones that have positive arrow skills. I shouldn't say delete. You don't delete your pals and you don't want to. You can sell them to merchants and you can use them to upgrade other pals later on. So I would hold off on getting rid of a ton of pals. Make sure you keep a good handful of pals, but maybe just get rid of the useless ones. You can always just click that one away and then they will go do their thing. I right-clicked her, so show. Now, Cremus is going over there. Don't think I want to put that one in there. I will put you for now, probably. Yeah, I'll put another penguin. Penguins seem pretty cool. So you just want to make sure that your both passive stats and your work suitability work for what your general base has at the moment. You can always check their skills, swap those out if you have skills to swap out. So let me go to my deer, hit F, and I can swap out its skills right now. I don't really like Stone Blast. I'm going to put it Draconic Breath, right? So now my deer will shoot Dragon Breath, and instead of Antler Uppercut, let's give it Dragon Cannon. Okay, I gave it some special skill fruit. Later on in the game, you will find things called skill fruit to give individual skills to pals. It's pretty much a Pokemon TM, so those are great. My next tip is once you unlock a town, the first town is right here at the small settlement. There will be easy access to merchants. That's right, this game does have merchants. Through those merchants, you can buy and sell pals as well as buy and sell enemies, or sorry, not enemies, items, but also enemies. You can capture, and I also wanted to bring this up. It is I don't think this is a good merchant. He has a guillotine and a torture chair. So this merchant, you can buy straight up pals. You can just be like, ooh, okay, bought a pal, counts as a capture. So there's that bonus EXP capture I was talking about earlier. You can buy pals from him as well as sell pals. This is a good idea to sell a small amount of pals if you need some gold early game. Just a small amount. Keep your pals. You need them for upgrading pals later on. But sell a small amount of pals if you need gold. Just don't sell the pals that you most use, right? And then you can make a ton of money there. So not too bad. From there, there's also other merchants. You'll get traveling merchants coming to your base, but you can buy and sell from them, as well as there's wandering merchants at the settlements. So you can buy things such as schematics from them. The thing that I hate about schematics is seemingly you can't use them. You have to hold them, so you have to store those. Hate that. And you can just buy a bunch of other things, such as wheat seeds, because you'll need wheat seeds for a wheat plantation eventually. So keep that in mind, and you can also sell items such as all of these. And there are items which are specifically made to be sold, such as rubies. It just says can be sold to a merchant for a high price. So those are merchants in town. Let me know what you think. Quickly talking about dungeons in Palworld, the closest and easiest dungeon, there are a bunch of dungeons all over, but the closest and easiest that I can think of is this one right here by the settlement. Dungeons in this game are small little, it's a dungeon. It's a fight area. Go through the dungeon, fight enemies, fight the boss at the end, unlock all of the chests, and get a bunch of loot. They're actually really good to run for EXP, to run for loot, and to run to capture different pals. So I just wanted to bring up dungeons as they exist. They're just really good, and they will be one of those things you're probably going to farm. If you want to farm XP, they're a good idea to do. If you want to farm XP, Tower of Rain is also a good thing to do. But if you want to capture more pals, run a dungeon. If you want to get more pal XP, fight the Tower of Rain. And that's where you find dungeons. They're just black circles in the wall. They will tell you the level of the boss and everything. And then you just click enter. And then you enter the dungeon, fight the dungeon. They look really nice. They're just cute little instanced off areas. And you can always leave back there. And you just go through it, fighting enemies, collecting them. That's why I said daydreams are really easy to get early on. They're either at night in the beginning zones or in the dungeons early on. So make sure to do dungeons. And the last general thing I wanted to talk about is just progressing through Palworld. I know I talked about this a little briefly, but Palworld is a Ark survival type game mixed with Pokemon. So it is at its core of it a survival base building automation game. So the main thing you do is spend a lot of time in your base, setting it up and crafting stuff. And then you go out and collect everything, right? So it's good to note that. Progressing through the game will be unlocking all of your technology and leveling up your player level along with your pal level. That will take time and it can get a little annoying at times. So remember that the best way to generally collect a lot of player XP is getting the capture bonus to 10 across all of your pals. Once they get to 10, you can still capture them. It's still a good idea to capture them to upgrade pals later on, and, you know, even sell pals if you want. But it's just that's going to be the main driver of quick progression early on in the game. So it does not fuck around when it says there is a capture bonus. Make sure to capture and get that bonus. If you want to know, you can always click on habitat to see where all of them spawn for certain enemies once you see them, but you will only know where they spawn, there you go, once you see them one time. So yeah, it is a very big map. Take it slow, don't worry about it too much. Once you've somewhat built up your first base, you'll unlock another base. So you can collect and do this again and make sure that even if your first base is kind of jank, like mine's kind of shitty, that's okay, because you can just continually build another base. I've unlocked 2 bases, more pals, and then you can make better setups and stronger builds. So just go from there, collect everything, build and find your effigies, and you should be good to go. Let me know how the video was, how the guide is, and what general beginner tips and tricks you have for Palworld. So thank you all so much for watching, subbing, and liking, or using Epic Games creator code Pupsker. Cheers.